So I've been collecting since I was a kid, and it was only up until a couple years after COVID that I started collecting even deeper, actually going out into eBay and looking for games, searching through different consoles and variants and games for every console to collect. And I recently had an, I guess you can call it an epiphany. It was more like a slap in the face with a reality check. When I noticed that I started picking things up that I didn't really want, and it's all because I think after a while, instead of being addicted to the video games and collecting, I was addicted to buying and shelving and showing off things that I had. And I fell victim to overconsumption basically. It wasn't a collection for the passion of the games that I had, it was a collection of things that I love to buy. And it put me in a very difficult spot because I had to look at the shelves and really ask myself if what I got or things that I had were actually meaningful and worth it to me. And a lot of the things didn't. I do have a lot of games that I picked up in bulk. Um, that is really because I went to like thrift shops where they had like games for 25 cents. In that case, I didn't mind just buying 10, 20 games at like $5 because I felt like maybe in this big bundle of games would be a game that I like. However, I didn't like the fact that I never played them. I never did once take the game, plug in a console, plug it in to play, and just sat down with it. I knew I wouldn't, honestly, because I've got kids, I've got a family, I'm busy, my time is pretty much spoken for most of the day. I don't know if you guys can relate, but that's how it is for me. So in the end, I decided to just like take a step back and think about why I even started this game room in the first place. Um, because back in the day, we didn't have a game room. It was like a nook with one or two consoles, a small TV, and a handful of games that we would put in hours in. And I I blame I blame influencers for having the ability to showcase their own personal collections online, but I don't blame them because they have like more extravagant or more things than I do. I blame them because it put that sense of comparison in me that I had to try to fulfill basically. Like there were standards for what a game room is supposed to look like, and I took that personally, and I tried to basically keep up with any collection or game room that I seen, and try to judge my own game room based on what other people's rooms look like. And it got me into some bad trouble, to the point where money was a lot tighter than it should have been. um, I'm a fairly practical person, so I do like budget for groceries and family trips and all that stuff. And a lot of those things were put on the back burner because of stuff like this. So yeah, I got into some bad trouble trying to deal with the fact that I had enough and I had things that were already meaningful to me and held a place in my heart. Like most of my childhood games that I wanted that were thrown away or disposed of for some reason or lost or broken, I made back. Like I found in the wild, have it on my shelf now, and that should have been done. um, Everything else after that should have been things that I like collecting personally for my own enjoyment. Maybe more modern things that I obviously never had as a kid, but would be able to kind of keep up with growing technology. And I mean, who knows, even go back in time again and look through retro consoles that I didn't have, that I always had my eyes on as a kid. I didn't have a Dreamcast. I didn't have like a Sega Game Gear or Sega Saturn. I never had any of those. So having to go back and maybe pick those up would have been something worthwhile. Instead, I don't have any of that. I didn't end up buying any of those that I just talked about, those consoles. Instead, I bought things like grails, right? What they call grails. And I'm left with games just sitting on a shelf, not being played, and money wasted. So I'm trying to be better in thinning out my collection and filtering out the things that don't spark that joy for me. Like, I'm trying to Marie Kondo this whole thing. So if you guys notice, there's a lot of shelves that are emptied out, and I still haven't gotten through the game wall, but I will be looking through them and just kind of filtering out games that I know I won't be playing, or that I don't mind if someone were to just take them off the shelf, because I don't need them, right? I don't, or have never really planned to play them, and it's not something that the whole world will go to shit if it's gone, right? So I do have some plans for other things that I like doing that I'm hoping will bring a little bit more meaning into this game room. I have a repair projects folder with some old Game Boys and Game Boy Advances and SPs and other things that can be restored. So I'm gonna take up learning how to solder and repair these games and restore them to basically its original form, or some upgraded form, as opposed to just sitting there and just... I had a whole bunch of broken consoles, handheld consoles, just like on the shelf being displayed, like, hey, look how retro this is. I couldn't do anything with them. They were just taking up space. So I thought about just why not repairing them, picking up a new skill, and just admitting that I was a hoarder, man. It's just crazy to think about what I expect the game room to look like in terms of the game room of other people, and try to hold myself to that same standard, when in actuality, no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit about what your game room looks like. No one cares about how many games you have, because it does nothing for them, right? I shouldn't care about, this person has this. Even if I always wanted whatever they have, I had all the opportunities to get them, right? But instead I try to swell up my collection, or basically try to fill those buffers with other things to make it look like I have a lot of things. And I regret doing that. And as much as I say I blame this person and that person, it is my fault for falling into that trap of trying to be like everyone else. And all of these things will change. Like, we have plans to move to the mainland in a few years. I'm not going to be in Hawaii forever, so that's another thing. Like, how do I move all of this, and how would I move it if I have twice as much things as I have here? So I'm gonna be a little bit more intentional. I think the main theme of this video is to be intentional. I want everyone to do the same. You know, collect 4 things that you love, things that you're truly passionate about, and don't let it affect you.